one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. This gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3. Finish.
It has been a minute, but I'm back now. Had some personal situations I had to take care of over the last couple weeks. It's been a crazy year and a half, but we keep pushing, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Yo, welcome back. I know it's been a minute. I still gotta I'm not gonna just ditch the WrestleMania 38 review. I know I haven't dropped the Night 2 review, but I'm just gonna record a whole WrestleMania 38 breakdown. Like, we're going over Night 2, and then I'll rehash Night 1, and then we'll just wrap it all up. But I gotta give that my energy, my proper energy for that, because I love wrestling, and I love that WrestleMania, and I'm gonna do that tonight. But right now, we gotta get caught up on some shit, yo. It's been a minute. I mean, you gotta click the pen for a second. You got Bobby Wagner going to the fucking Rams. The pen ain't working. All right, here we go. B-Wags going to the Rams. Hell of a move. Don't know how they keep getting this money. Shout out to their capologist, to Les Snead. But yo, we got a lot of shit to talk about. Gilbert Burns, Khamzat Chimaez. Jeez. Yo, it's funny because on the same night in which Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaez fought, and I apologize if I get Chimaez's name wrong at any point in time, but on the same night they fought was the same night that the Hall of Fame a matchup went into the Hall of Fame. And I really forgot those two men's name already, but that's actually pretty unbelievable. But a fight from 2016, I believe, went into the Hall of Fame. Next time I record, I'll have the name of that fight. The two fighters who was involved in that fight. That fight went into the Hall of Fame. I can only imagine at some point in time down the line, this fight will go. This fight's going into the Hall of Fame. Gilbert Burns, Khamzat Chimaez. Now, first off, I do want to say something about this fight. I'm not mad at either. Like, when I was watching this fight, like, this is probably my favorite UFC fight I done seen in recent memory. Like, off of injury. Because who was those two dudes who fought recently? It was Justin Gaethje and Chandler, I think, who had that fight where it was like they was trying to kill each other in the first round, but then like the last two rounds kind of died off a little bit. This fucking fight was all go, all gas, all 3 rounds. This shit was crazy. So, I really don't even know where to start, because this fight. All right, matter of fact, let's start off with this. It didn't bother me who won this fight after watching this fight in the moment, because I was like, yo, this is a great fight. I dead ass don't know how to judge this fight. After I watched it a second time, I really do feel, and even in the moment after like wearing off a little bit, I thought this too. But after going back and rewatching this fight, I do kind of think Gilbert Burns won this fight. Like, dead ass. Like, I'm not even trying to be controversial and no shit like that, because I'm not mad that Chimaez won the fight, and I actually think that was the right decision, that Chimaez won a fight that was this close. And when you have a fight like this, a pick'em fight, well, it wasn't a pick'em fight to most people. Most people disrespected Gilbert Burns. I don't know how you did. Like, maybe it's because y'all don't really watch Gilbert Burns, or maybe it's because you watched him against Kamaru Usman and you don't respect Kamaru, or you do, and so when he dismantled Burns, you took that some type of way, as like you just started shitting on Gilbert. But if you remember, Gilbert rocked Kamaru in that fight too. But either way, Kamaru is the champion and pound for pound best fighter in the UFC, not named Ngannou, in my opinion, because I can't put him over the heavyweight champion. That's especially Ngannou. That's just not gonna happen. But it's levels to this, bro. Like, you can't shit on Gilbert for losing to Kamaru Usman, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time when it's all said and done. So that's one. If you looked at Gilbert Burns as if you looked at this fight and said, oh, this is not a pick'em, this is Chimaez's fight. For one, I don't think you truly is a UFC fan as you think you is. Because Chimaez, as great as I think he is, he wasn't fighting a bunch of dudes who was champions or contenders. You know what I'm saying? This was his first legitimate test since being in the UFC. His first legitimate test. And if you want to be honest, like, his overall grade, obviously he passed it. But it's a lot of areas in which Chimaez failed. It's a lot of areas in which this fight he failed. However, as great as this fight was, and I'm only saying that because you got to say, it's like you comparing Chimaez. This is his first real competition. You want to see how he doing this competition. Obviously, he won. But you're not just comparing him to Gilbert Burns. You want to see, okay, he did this against Gilbert Burns, who is the number 2 ranked fighter. Now you're saying, what could he do against a Colby or the champion Usman? If it took him 3 rounds and no finish to beat Gilbert Burns, which, like I said, I do kind of think Gilbert won that fight, and I'll get into it in a minute. But I'm not mad that they gave Chimaez that fight, that win. For the simple reason, like I said, in a pick'em fight or in a fight with a champion, you have to, in a fight where you fighting a champion, the champion, in my opinion, should never lose unless it's by submission or a knockout or a TKO. It have to be a definitive L. It can't go down to the judges unless it's like he getting his ass whooped the entirety of the fight and it's like a unanimous decision L he about to take. But a champion can't lose to no split decision. A champion can't win because he lost 3 of the cards to his 2 cards he won. No. Anytime they go to one of those type of things, the champion's gonna win every time. Unless, like I said, he get his ass whooped for like the 5 rounds. And it's a unanimous decision. If that does not happen, to me, champions should lose definitively. You can't just have a pick'em fight when it comes to a champion. And if you do have a scenario, and I understand neither one of these 2 dudes was a champion, but that's where you have, this is a pick'em fight in my opinion, where either one of them could, now granted, some could say if you really an MMA junkie, you could say this really shouldn't have been a pick'em fight because any person would have picked Gilbert Burns because he was the vet, blah, blah, blah. And then there would be some people who, MMA junkies, who would say, well, as much as I like Gilbert Burns and I respect him, blah, 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 I believe the hype of Chimaez. So I understand both sides of that coin. What I'm saying is, aside from that championship scenario where I feel like it should be a definitive loss on a champion, in this type of fight, if you don't, because Chimaez is not a champion, right? But he is the up and come. That's the best. That's another way to put it. When you are facing, because the UFC got a problem with this. When you are facing an up and coming star in the UFC, because the UFC is not a promotion that's dominated by, like, every promotion is dominated by stars, and the UFC rely on stars, right? But in the UFC, a star can die out quick. Like Jorge Masvidal became a star. He has not won since becoming that star, I believe. Like, he beat Nick Diaz, but as soon as he started fighting like the top dudes, the star power kind of dimmed because he was losing those fights. Because in the UFC, you can legitimately lose. Like, this ain't the WWE where they can keep you on a path of winning for a long time by great booking and whatnot, and booking you to win fights. Excuse me. In the UFC, you actually got to go out there and win. So you can become a hype train and whatnot like that, but you still got to go out there and get it done. So in a fight like this, where Chimaez is obviously a rising star, a rising big name, a dude that's going to sell tickets and put asses in the seats for the UFC, when it comes, obviously you're not scripting him to win or no shit like that, but if you get him into a fight and it's a pick'em type of result where, damn, either one of these dudes could have won this fight, you have to pick Chimaez. Because the only way you give Burns this fight is if he had a knocked out Chimaez, put Chimaez to sleep, made him tap out or something like that. When it come down to this tight of a fight, I do agree that you have to give that win to Chimaez. And I know people gonna say, oh, that's not right. I understand that's not right. But that's what's best for business. If I don't learn anything from watching the WWE, What's best for fans is what's best for business is what's best for fans. I'm telling you right now, you don't understand it. If the UFC, and listen, this could all just be a fantasy I'm living in. This could possibly not even happen, but I refuse to believe that this ain't a way of thinking. In the UFC, or any business, when you have a up and coming star, you do not want them to take a major type of L that could derail them, because now you can't push him as an undefeated or an unbeatable dude because he just lost. And I know some people would have been like, well, if he had a loss, it would have been against the number 2 opponent that was highly ranked. It don't matter. That 11th ranking on Chimaez, if anything, was an under ranking. Obviously, I understand that you have to rank him there because of who he done fought. He ain't even really fought the type dudes. But you not presenting him as a number 11 ranked fighter. You presenting him as basically anything, just a bar less than the champion, basically, because you presenting him as the young up and coming lion that's gonna take over this division. And so when you have a dude like that, you don't want to kill his shine, because essentially he is a moneymaker right now. You kill that moneymaker, then boom. Because everybody not going to be like Conor McGregor, who can lose fights and still sell out the arena. Like, I, for one, respect to Conor, because after he hit that boxing payday, I wouldn't have came back to the MMA anyways. I would have started looking into the WWE or something like that. There's no way in hell I'm going back to, and shit. Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't even be looking into that except for like on a, if I'm him, except for like on a every other type of occasion. Because I'm not trying to travel to, be on the road that much if I'm Conor McGregor and I got that type of payday out of boxing. But I'm definitely not trying to step back into the octagon and break my leg. Fuck that. That's not gonna happen. So shout out, I always respected Conor in that aspect. The fact that he came back even after that boxing payday. Respect. But I do think that time away had people pass him. And so, even though I don't think Conor is the dude that he still want to be or once was in that octagon, I'm just talking about in the octagon, the fighter. Let me say the fighter that he want to be in the octagon, not the dude. I'm not taking a shot at the man's character. I do believe the time away that he took, like, even though he not that same fighter, and that time away from the octagon really did cost him ultimately, because dudes was passing him in talent and whatnot. A clear example of that is Dustin Poirier. He still can sell out arenas and shit because people want to see Conor win or lose. You know what I'm saying? That's not really the case for most of these guys. So when you have a situation where Chimaez, you can give him a win on a close fight like this, because like I said, I do think Gilbert Burns won this fight, and I'm about to get into it in a minute on why I think he kind of slightly won this fight. When it's so close like this, I would have ultimately took Chimaez, because I gotta keep pushing his legacy forward. I gotta keep doing my part, because listen, whether you agree with it or not, everybody plays a part in these type of things. Okay? It just is what it is. I'm sorry. The difference between this and the WWE is Dana and these guys have to rely on the fans and, you know, all these other forces and whatnot to play their parts well. But what Dana said after the post fight, and I don't like Dana. You know, I don't give Dana a ton of credit and shit like that. I don't want to say I don't like Dana, because I don't even know Dana. But I'm not cool with the pay of the fighters and shit like that, obviously. But I do want to say this. The man Dana said he was probably giving Gilbert Burns, and I don't know why he would say this if he didn't do it. So Gilbert Burns got paid a winning, that was, for one, they had to fight in the night, and Gilbert Burns got paid winning fighter money for the night. Fucking respect. That's what I'm talking about. Dana have to be seeing these fights and hearing all the noise about fighters should get paid more, fighters should get paid more. This is a great step, bro. I don't remember the last time somebody who lost a fight got paid a winner's salary after the fight. But Gilbert Burns fucking deserved it. Because like I said, I thought he won the fight. But I would have paid Chimaez a winner's thing. Both of these fighters deserve to have made bank after this fight. Like, dead ass. This is a fight that after you had this type of fight, this shit set you up for life. Because this is a Hall of Fame fight that people are going to be talking about for a long time. And I'm happy that Gilbert Burns got this situation, because now people will know who Gilbert Burns is. People will stop sleeping on Gilbert Burns. I was talking about this to my cousin, because my cousin was picking Chimaez to win this fight too, even though he a Gilbert Burns fan. he was like, yo, I don't know why people sleeping on Gilbert Burns' stand-up game. I was like, yeah, me either, because I think he got a better stand-up than Chimaez. I think that he also can wrestle. So Chimaez did show me that he's far stronger than I could have imagined. But I want to see him against Usman. But either way, a couple things in this fight. Gilbert Burns was throwing fucking power the whole fight. That's why he was gassed in the third round. Him and Chimaez wasn't even throwing power the whole. I think Chimaez wasn't even that. He was just gassed. He was getting his ass beat in his fight. I mean, this was the first time he done had a fight where he was getting his ass beat. But he was beating ass too, so respect to both. Gilbert Burns, to me though, and to me Gilbert Burns' biggest problem, and I hate this for him, because I told my cousin after this fight, I was like, yo, Gilbert Burns kind of turning into the Yoel Romero of his division right now. Like he looked great. He talked a great game, and he not even as much, because Gilbert Burns very respectful fighter. Like, I hate that I have to break down Gilbert Burns, because I love Gilbert Burns. He is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. But he becoming a Yoel Romero in the sense that he can't get the big fights done right now. Like, Yoel Romero never got it done in the big one, and when he did, it wasn't even a title on the line because he missed weight or some shit like that. So I kind of said that. I want to take it back though, Gilbert, because I don't want to. Yoel Romero was just, can't get into him right now. But Gilbert Burns' biggest problem to me is that chin. Gilbert Burns has an unbelievable weak chin, like unbelievably weak chin. And I'm not saying like weak chin as in one of these normal people out here who don't fight on an everyday basis and one jab could put him out. No. I'm talking about as far as UFC chins. He got a rather a jelly type of chin. Like, it's some shots that hit him sometimes that don't really look like they too powerful and whatnot, but they can rock him a little bit. Like, Gilbert can get rocked about. It felt like Gil got rocked a couple times in this fight, but the thing, and I kind of do think Gilbert could get a little bit better with because Gilbert, I thought, retreated a little, like the backing up, giving himself up to the fence sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, Gilbert was gassed going into the third round because he only throw power. Like, Gilbert don't throw jabs. Like, I don't know if people realize that throughout this fight. Gil does not throw jabs. Like, he might throw a jab or two here or there. But, Gil throw overhooks, overheads. He is only trying to knock a motherfucker out, bro. Like, Gil is never trying to tip-tap with you. He is not trying to knock this tree down with 150-plus type of chops. Gil is trying to knock this sumbitch down with one big-ass chop. Maybe two big-ass chops. Won't get past 3 or 4 big-ass chops. And I respect that. I really do. But that do take a lot out of a fighter. And whereas Chimaez, it felt like, now both fighters, now when Gil got settled down into this fight, he did start rolling with his punches a lot. And the announcer table would not let you forget that was the case. Like, Jesus Christ. They said that shit about 10, 12 times. Oh, now he rolling with his punches. Oh, now he rolling with his punches. Like, God damn, shut up, bruh. I'm telling you right now, man, it's just some fights, bro, where you got to turn the volume down for Rogan and these dumbasses at the table. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Joe Rogan, because I like Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan is very informative. But it's just sometimes that Joe Rogan is not trying to inform you at times. He is there on commentary to enhance the fight. And he is kind of like the Pat McAfee version for the UFC in a way sometimes. All of them, basically. Where it's not really them reacting for you and whatnot. They reacting because they really there is amazing shit. Like, they fans commentating the thing. And I'm not mad at that. I just think sometimes they mix the fandom with the talking too fucking much about trying to tell me what's going on and shit. And it's all not making sense in some ways. Like, I done told you, I done seen multiple UFC fights where Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier is, to me, worse than Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan might irritate me here or there, but it's few and far between. It's that motherfucker Daniel Cormier who really be throwing me for a loop, bruh. But they really do this thing where they like to tell me one dude is winning a fight, and then when that dude lose the fight in the end, they surprised, and I'm like, okay, because that's what I saw. Like, I saw that this other dude was winning this fight, but they kept telling me the whole fucking fight that the other dude was winning. And I'm saying to myself, what fight is they watching right now? Like, I'm telling you, that's done happened so many. And it was a big fight that happened recently where Daniel Cormier and Joe Rogan would not stop acting as if this one fighter was like dominating this fight. And the whole time I kept saying to myself, what fight is these dudes watching? Like, this dude is getting his ass beat. Like, it wasn't even a case of him getting his ass beat, but when asses was getting beat, it was his that was usually the ass getting beat. And the majority of this fight, I'm like, this dude might have won one round, but he is thoroughly getting beat in this fight right now. This is not a close fight. And then when the judges scored the fight exactly the way I was seeing it, Joe Rogan and fucking Daniel Cormier was acting all shocked on the fucking outside and shit like that. And I do believe after that fight, Joe Rogan addressed that, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't want to put words in his mouth and I don't want to say something that don't happen, but I believe I had saw an interview or I had saw a quote or something like that where he addressed it. Because, like, I was like, yo, how did the fuck do these dudes think that this dude just won this fight? Like, these supposed to be professionals. And I can see that this dude was clearly not winning this fight and they couldn't. And then to make it crazy on top, they actually act as if they were shocked he won this fight. Like, and I'm telling you, the reason that, to me, commentary is such a problem, and the reason I'm so hard on commentary, because these is the motherfuckers that's selling the sport to the community. I mean, to the audience. Okay? So the audience, most of the time, is going to believe the bullshit that they hear these motherfuckers saying, because most of the fans in the UFC, and this is a very special subject, I mean, sport, where most of the people who watch it do not truly understand it. They just want to see basically, the motherfuckers who watch UFC, a lot of them is boxing fans or just fans of fighting. They don't understand the UFC and the MMA altogether. That's why they boo when motherfuckers is in holes and shit like that, because they don't truly understand that type of shit. But you put one of them motherfuckers in a hole like that and see how long it take for them motherfuckers to get out. Or if they just pass out and you have to just let them out of the holes. Like, I'm telling you right now, you saw how Aljo had his hips and his legs tied around Jan in their fight. Let him put you into that and see how long it take before he crack your ribs or anything in that part of your body. Because you're not going to be able to get out either. If a professional fighter as Jan could not get out of that hold in 2 different rounds, how the fuck you think your normal average ass going to get out of it? But you booing. As if you knew the solution to this problem right now. You booing. You think Jan want to be in that situation right there? And you booing. Oh, you booing because you... you booing Aljamain because you like, oh, he boring. Well, let him put you into that shit and see if you can get out. And boo him then. Matter of fact, because he going to be sitting down there booing your goofy ass. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these fans don't even understand what the fuck the MMA is and this. They just want to see motherfuckers stand up and box and throw hands. Because these motherfuckers are buffoons. They only... And excuse me for taking shots at fans all the time. Because, you know, fans are so sensitive with their feelings and shit. But... they can get on the stand in the crowd and call athletes all type of names and shit like that. It's cool. As soon as you boo these motherfuckers, give them a thumbs down, it's a problem. But they like to call people soft. It's crazy. The same motherfuckers running around calling KD a cupcake. The same motherfuckers crying anytime you say anything crazy to them, like shut the fuck up and sit your ass down. It's crazy. I saw the video. KD, you need to take over this game. You need to shut the fuck up and sit down. Do that. You heard him. Do that. The ref was looking like, what the fuck? He didn't know if he's supposed to give KD a tech or not. He was confused. He was like, well, that motherfucker wasn't talking to me or a player. He was talking to a fan. And then the ref thought to himself, these motherfuckers gonna be booing me in a couple minutes. Fuck that fan. Yeah, sit your ass down. But listen, that's why I'm hard on commentary. Because they are the ones who sell the product to the fans. So they need to know what they talking about. So when the fans go out there and just blindly believe and buy everything that they selling, at least they could know, even though they don't. They just feel like they know. At least you could be giving them the right information with their goofy, ways of getting the information, if you will. But that's my only thing with that. But this fight with Gilbert Burns and Chimaez, this was a great fight. Here's my thing with Chimaez. Head movement, my guy. Gotta have better head movement. The reason you gotta have better head movement, because Chimaez was just taking shots, and he got knocked down a couple times in this fight. And that's one of the things that was actually pretty weird to me. How do you get knocked down that many times and win the fight? That was kind of weird to me. I didn't understand that one, because Gilbert probably got rocked a couple times, but he didn't go down. But like what, 1 or 2 times? Chimaez went down at the end, unless I'm just remembering this incorrectly. Chimaez went down at the end of 2 different rounds and was close to getting finished at the end of the second one, if not for that clock. So I was actually very confused as to how Chimaez won this after I rewatched the fight. Now, granted, maybe I need to go back and rewatch it for a third time, because that could be the case. Because once you watch a whole bunch of fights and shit start to blend in and whatnot. But I did kind of think that Chimaez lost this fight just slightly, by like 1 or 2 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, not by nothing crazy, but Gilbert Burns was connecting with some power. Every shot he hit through was a power shot. And the reason for that is Chimaez don't really move his head. Like, his head stay on one stationary movement. And when you make your head just one stationary target, great fighters, especially great stand-up fighters who can roll with their punches and things like that, or roll on your punches and counter and shit like that, the great parries and shit like that, great stand-up fighters who is experts at that type shit, once they realize that you do a lot of movement with everything but your head, they're going to start moving with everything else in order to get your head, because they know, if I can move with you with your arms and shit like that, your head's going to stay the same. So I throw in a counter hook or an uppercut or something that throw this movement off, I'm teeing off. Kind of like, and the thing with, and what really saved Chimaez in this fight, in my opinion, is that Gilbert Burns don't throw jabs. If Gilbert Burns had a jab in his arsenal, he probably win this fight via knockout at some point in time. Because now you connecting with a constant jab that's coming right down the pipe. Right down the pipe. Right down the pipe. And then you hook him with those overhands and shit. Because I think what kept Chimaez in this fight for so long is because he had a jab. And he had that little downward fist that he throw to keep Burns at bay at times. But Chimaez had a nice, and that's what I learned in this fight, Chimaez has a great jab off both feet. Like, both lead legs he got a good jab off of. Which is very rare to do. I mean, it's very rare that fighters can throw good jabs off of both, powerful, good jabs off of both front legs, off of both lead legs, off of either one being your lead leg. That's what you need, because when you fight Kamaru Usman got the best jab in the business right now, probably. So you gotta have a jab, and I just feel like, I don't think Kamaru is the stand-up, power thrower that Gilbert Burns is, even though Kamaru obviously has power because he knocked out Jorge. But because you're not going to see Kamaru throwing like Gilbert Burns was just throwing. But if you make yourself your head a stationary target like that, it's a great possibility that could turn into his game plan. So as much as I do like Chimaez, and I'm hoping that he succeed and, challenge Kamaru, to which I will have to turn on him because I'm a Kamaru guy. But he got to get better with the head movement. And the more, because I think his next fight is Colby Covington, Chaos Covington. And this is an interesting one, because I'm glad I brought this up. Clicks to pin. Chaos Covington. I seen Chaos Covington. I heard about him. I heard about what happened between him and Jorge Masvidal. And while I do not agree with what Jorge did, I agree with exactly what Jorge did. What you're not going to do is disrespect my mom, my wife, my kids, nothing like that. You can disrespect me all you want to. What you're not going to do is disrespect none of those people then have people tell me violence is not the answer in this type of situation. Because remember how I feel about that Will Smith situation. Jada Pinkett Smith was not disrespected. This was a comedian doing his job, cracking a lighthearted joke. Go look at the shit that Colby Covington be saying about these dudes' wives and kids, and you tell me if you think that's comparable to what Chris Rock said in that type of scenario. Because this definitely is not the scenarios. You can tell me, oh, he's saying those in interviews and that's his job. No, that is not. Dana White done made it very clear he is not cool with that. He don't like what Colby Covington be doing and saying about these dudes. And when you decide to take shots, see, this is what's funny to me. Society will tell you that, oh, you're supposed to protect your wife and your kids and blah, 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 and all that bullshit. And then they'll use that logic in some of the goofiest situations, such as the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Jada Pinkett Pac, and the Chris Rock situation. They'll apply that to that situation and justify Will Smith doing what he did, but then not use that in this situation. Because I've been seeing people say that, oh, Kobe was right, he should be suing and filing charges against bruh. And I'm just like, so where was this energy when Colby Covington? Because I agree with most people when you say words shouldn't really do too much for you. Like, that shouldn't really get you going. I agree. It's being disrespectful. Colby Covington is disrespectful on every level. And he done crossed lines that men... And I am going to say this. With all due respect, ladies, women, this is a man situation, so please stay out of this one real quick. Just real quick. I'm not telling you to go to the kitchen and no ignorant bullshit like that. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? You can stay in front of me. I'm not even going to tell you to step to the side. Just mute your ears for a second, because this ain't for you. This is for the men. As a man, it's a lot of shit that you can take. It's a lot of words that should be thrown at you that should bounce off of you. That shouldn't bother you. What you're not going to do and what I'm not going to take is you constantly disrespecting my wife, my kids, who can't defend themselves back, who can't say nothing back, who are kids, who should have nothing to do with this. You're not going to keep calling my wife a slut. You're not going to keep calling her a whore. You're not going to you can call me Street Judas and all this other bullshit as much as you want to. What you're not going to do is continuously talk crazy about my kids and my wife in such disrespectful manners. Because not only is you disrespecting me now, you disrespecting both of them, my kids, my wife, my family, my name. And once you start letting people do stupid shit like that, now we have a problem. Now, that little book that y'all be reading, the Bible, don't they say honor your father and mother? All right? I don't know what that had to do with this. Ignore that. Either way, that's what you're not going to be doing. You're not going to be disrespecting my wife and my kids, saying the type of shit that he was saying and thinking that we finna be rocking out like that. It's no fucking way. Not only that, when we had a chance to fight this out like men in the octagon, you didn't want to do that. You didn't want to fight this out like men. You wanted to try to wrestle me, hug me up, kiss on me and shit. That's the type of fight you wanted. You didn't want to fight like men. You didn't want to stand up and try to knock each other out like Gilbert Burns and Chimaez just did. That's why I love that this fight happened, because this is such a great point to what I was saying when that fight happened before. The fight that Chimaez and Burns just had is the fight that we thought Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal were going to have, with that type of hate fueling them. Burns and Chimaez don't even hate each other, and they just had a fight like that. And we got the fight that we got between Jorge and Colby Covington. And you can keep trying to sell me on, oh, that was the fight of the night all you want to. Well, to me, that's just telling me that the other fights on the card didn't rock out too much. Because that was not a fight of the night to me based off of what I was expecting. Mind you, I'm a fight fan, an MMA fan, a mixed martial arts fan. I don't go into these fights expecting the fight to be one type of way and disappointed when it don't go that way. This was a completely different type of situation and scenario. Completely different. So I'm not going to lie, I was bothered a bit by this one. But I just think they should have had the fight that Burns, and it wasn't that Jorge didn't want to have that fight. It was that Colby didn't want to have that fight because he knew. Either way, to call the cops after Buddy knock you out or do whatever he did to you after talking the way you talk, bro, that's jokish to me, bro. That's clownish behavior, bro. Dead ass. You don't get to walk around doing this type of being this type of disrespectful and then telling people, oh, I'm just doing this for a shtick. I want to do this to make money. No. It's a ton of dudes in the MMA who've been able to sell fights, who don't have to do what you have done, who don't have to disrespect each other's wives and kids. I see dudes talk trash about each other all the time. I see dudes disrespect each other all the time without bringing up wives and kids. Go back to the John Jones and Daniel Cormier things. Did Daniel Cormier ever take a shot? Now, listen, granted, John Jones is a easy target. Like, he done a lot of shit in his personal life to where you can, it's easy to only use him as the singular target, where you never have to bring his wife and kids into the situation. But even Colby Covington, I believe, had took a shot at John Jones's wife or something like that when John Jones had talked about it, because he was like, if you glad to see John Jones fail, well, my wife just left me finally or whatever. And I believe, now, listen, if he didn't, it was another fighter who did it, then I apologize to Colby Covington. But another fighter had took a shot on that. But either way, Colby being disrespectful to the that whole thing between John and Cormier. I don't think Cormier ever at no point in time took a shot at John Jones's wife or his kids. Only fucking Colby Covington does that shit. Dana White said himself on the Pat McAfee show, bro, it's just lines that you do not cross as a man. Period. And we know that. Ladies, y'all can come back into the conversation now, bro. I wasn't trying to hold you out of the conversation or no shit like that. So don't take it like that, all right? I wasn't trying to silence you or nothing like this. I just knew that this wasn't a point that you cared about too much. And it's just like if you say like this lady situation, you stay out of it, I would shut my ass up happily and stay the fuck out of it. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. You dig? But welcome back. But I'm very interested to see the Chimaez. Now, Chimaez even said after the thing when it was brought up about Colby Covington, he said, is the dude going to call the cops if you beat him up after talking like he talks so much? Like, that's the synopsis of what he said. But I'm interested in this fight because Colby Covington got a decent stand-up game. My problem with Colby's stand-up game is the motherfucker don't lack. He don't got the power that, to me, Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman possess. And that's the problem because it feel like every time I watch Colby, he can clip you. And it feel like it's always late in fights when he clip people. Like when people already done gassed out a little bit, they running on fumes now. They tank might be getting closer to empty. They make a mistake here or there, he clip them with something. But it don't never feel like he really clipping these motherfuckers or putting anybody down early in these fights. It's always a thing that happened over the, length of a fight. But I think Colby Covington lacked knockout power. Now, listen, people said Kamaru Usman lacked knockout power until the motherfucker put somebody to sleep. But I truly believe that the best thing Colby Covington does is wrestle. I don't think he want to wrestle with Chimaez. And I think after seeing Chimaez against Burns, who is a better stand-up fighter than Colby Covington, I don't think he gonna doubt. Now, of course, he'll talk like he has no respect for his, but I think that if he didn't want to stand up with Jorge, I don't see him wanting to stand up with Chimaez. And I think if he tried to wrestle with Chimaez, that is not because I didn't realize Chimaez was as strong as he was. Like, this motherfucker really is unbelievably strong, bro. And I done seen motherfuckers like that who don't look like they as strong as they is, but they possess insane strength. Like, I done seen those type of motherfuckers. Usually it's wrestlers. But that would be a very interesting fight. A great fight to me because Colby Covington is a great wrestler. I think that's what he do best. Yeah, he can stand up, but I think his wrestling is what he gonna want to do. And I just don't think he gonna win that one with Chimaez. I think that is a winnable fight for Chimaez. I think he'll probably go into that fight as the underdog, but I think he gonna win that fight. Now, if Colby Covington wins this fight, I still don't want to see Usman Covington 3. Like, no, I'm not trying to see that. If anything, Gilbert Burns deserve another shot at a title fight. Because this is the type of thing that I hate. This is not a lose-lose fight. Like, I do think, ultimately, Gilbert Burns and Chimaez was a win-win for both parties. But somebody, just the fact of the matter is, somebody still did have to take the actual L. It would have been better if this had a tie, because then they could have done a rematch like they pulled in on my boy Figgy versus Moreno. Because Figgy won that first fight. That wasn't a fucking tie. But Gilbert, I would have preferred this ending a tie, to be honest with you. But like I said, I'm not mad at the Chimaez decision, because that's probably the decision I would have made too after a fight was this close, even though I do think Gilbert Burns won this fight. At the end of the day, it was a great fight. But like I said, it is a win-win situation for both parties involved, and I'm so happy that Gilbert Burns is getting paid winner's money for this fight. Gilbert Burns do still take this L on his record. And I don't know where you go with Gilbert Burns after this, because now who he fight? And I think Gilbert Burns deserved to fight Colby Covington. I think he deserved to fight Jorge Masvidal. I think Gilbert Burns still deserved to fight the top dudes in his division. Just because he lost to number 11, I don't think that should lower his ranking like drastically. Like, if anything, he not falling out of the top 5 for me. Like, it's just not happening, because I would like to see him fight Leon Edwards at some point in time. Like, I don't think Gilbert Burns, for one, like I said, I already don't think he lost his fight truly, but I don't think Gilbert Burns is because I think he's better than Yoel Romero, to be honest with you. So I don't want them to start treating him like that, even though they didn't treat Yoel Romero bad either. He just didn't get it done. Everything that happened to Yoel was on Yoel. Gilbert Burns, I think, is the man. And so I think he could end up having a career resurgence. We done seen fighters do it, like where they just figure something out and they go on a roll. He do got to figure out how to knock motherfuckers out, and I do think that would come if he had a jab. Like, if he had a legit, consistent jab, I do think that would stop him from taking as much punishment, because he do take too much punishment in his fights. I think that would be able to keep dudes at bay. You have a quick response for some of these because one thing that jabs do, especially if you got a quick, sharp jab, and you can see, like, and it's like you popping that bitch off before dudes can get, because I done seen multiple fights where dudes just keep getting popped in the mouth with jabs before they can even throw their punch. That shit affect you. And if you got something like that, and you got those other type of weapons that a Gilbert Burns has in his arsenal, man, you got to utilize all that. So, if to be completely honest with you, as great a jiu-jitsu wrestler Gilbert Burns is, I think the next evolution of Gilbert Burns' game should be to find him an expert stand-up specialist. Because I think his stand-up game could go to different levels if he added a jab here and there, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, Khamzat Chimaez, I forgot how to pronounce my man's name for a minute after pronouncing it this whole video. Khamzat Chimaez could throw a good jab off of both lead legs. That's crazy. That's gonna work for him in the future. I promise you, it worked for him in this fight. It keep fighters at bay when you can throw a quick snap jab off, especially off of both lead legs. I'm telling you, I done fought against a dude before who threw a great quick jab. Like, and I had to figure out ways while we was fighting. This wasn't like no street fighting, nothing like this. It was like training. And I had to continue to figure out ways. I done also fought against a dude who was strong as fuck, like way stronger than me. And I thought I was strong. But this motherfucker was actually, like, he completed all his years of wrestling. Like, he actually went to wrestling training and all that. I did not go to wrestling school, not wrestling school in the sense that like WWE type wrestling. Wrestling like high school wrestling. Like, I did not like that shit. The first time that I was introduced to that type of wrestling, I was like, oh no, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. Because it was boring. Like, it was, oh my God, I hated it. I hated it. And then outside of that, I started doing different type of fight trainings, and then all of it involved some type of training of wrestling. Now I do want to go back to like legitimate wrestling training, because the motherfucker who I fought, bro, this motherfucker was, I cannot even, for one, he was bigger than me. He probably had like 15 pounds on me, and that's a lot of weight if you don't realize it. That's a lot of weight in these type of fights, because he was basically a whole weight class above me. This motherfucker, basically, this is one of the few times that I got balled up in a fight, bro. Like, this motherfucker basically balled me up, because I was a striker at the time, where I was a kickboxer and a striker. I wasn't really trying to wrestle motherfuckers. I was just trying to stand up with you all the time. And this motherfucker just wasn't having it. He just wasn't having it. Like, that shit was wild. And then I remember one time when I got put in an ankle lock. I done had somebody sit. I done had a couple people, even my cousin, who a trained fighter, done had sat down on an ankle lock on me before. Yeah. I didn't tap out though, because the fight had took so long at this point. My ankle had got real slippery, right? And he couldn't really grip it in the way he wanted to. So once I was able to slip out of that bit, I got his ass in the guillotine, and I about damn near made him pass out before I actually put him to sleep for like a couple seconds. But it was all good in the end though. But I have tapped out to an ankle lock. Listen, bro, in wrestling like WWE, yeah, never tap out. But in the MMA, yeah, I'm not letting you break my shit, bro. If I done fucked up already, because I lost before I tapped out. The loss was when I let you put me in this shit. Because I'm training to never let you put me in this shit. And I'm training to get out of it immediately upon getting put in it. If I get put into a submission and he have it fully locked in, shit, she can have it fully locked in on me, I'm tapping. Because ain't nothing snapping on me. It just ain't gonna happen. And I'm not letting the motherfucker put me to sleep. Because to me, putting me to sleep is worse than tapping out. Way worse. Like, I don't understand. WWE got people thinking that it's cool to be put to sleep. No, it is not. When you let somebody put your ass to sleep, that to me is far worse than tapping out. Because tapping out is just like, okay, bet, you win, you got me. Tapping out, but passing out, basically refusing to take that L, just admitting that your defeat, is even a bigger ego trip. And now the motherfucker who you got in, you basically like, all right, you keep ego tripping all you want to, but I'm finna make you go night, motherfucker. And so once they do, it's just like, I just put the motherfucker to bed. That was worse than making the motherfucker tap out. At least he could stand up, walk away with his pride. Now the motherfucker gotta wake up and stand up and walk away with his pride. I mean, come on now, you tell me. Just tap. I'm just telling you. I think Malcolm had something. Malcolm in NXT had a little Cena towel. It would say "Never give up," and he said, "Just do though." Yeah, that's me. Hey, don't tap, but do tap though. Or what? Here's my slope. But tap though. I'm telling you. I'm not with the tap or snap. I'm not snapping. I'm telling you right now, you're not snapping nothing on me, bro. When you get put in some of these submissions one day, you will understand it. I'm telling you. Go do legitimate fight training, whether it be Taekwondo, karate, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, all type, because it's all type of wrestlings that you can learn. Once you go do all that type of stuff, and it's all type of Jiu-Jitsus and Muay Thai and all that type of shit you can learn. Once you go learn all those, you participate in some of those things, let motherfuckers put you in submissions. And I truly think everybody should start off with Taekwondo, like high level, because Taekwondo is the art of kicking and punching, and that can give you a great base as a start game. Like, well, karate, I guess, but I never did. I wasn't a fan of karate. I think I did karate for a little short time, and then I was done with that shit. Taekwondo was so far and away better. Muay Thai was so far and away better. Like, kickboxing was so far and away better. Different wrestlings was so far and away better. Like, I'm just not a karate fan. It just is what it is. Plus, I had a fire ass instructor plus the Taekwondo gym I went to was it was Taekwondo, kickboxing, and boxing. So, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't just learning one thing at the gym. Plus, it was some high level motherfuckers at that gym who was very great at what they did. Yeah, so I respect that. had to take that smoke break real fast. You did? Now we gotta take a swig. But the next fight we gotta get into, man. Because it was really 3 fights particularly on this card that I was really zoned into, and I want to talk about. Gotta talk about this Aljamain Sterling one. I don't know why y'all hate this man the way y'all do. I really don't. The way y'all hate this man is really weird to me. Because you mad at him because you say, oh, that was bad acting job. Is he the one who kneed himself in the face when he was on 2 knees? Or was that Jan? And I like Jan. But Aljamain didn't do that shit to himself. And then you got motherfuckers talking about well, it's not honorable to win that way. Well, you get on your knees and let me knee your ass in the face, and you tell me if that's an honorable way to win. Because I promise you won't get back up and you won't be able to act like Aljamain. I promise you. Like, y'all say some of the stupidest shit, man. I promise you. Y'all say some of the stupidest shit. And shout out to Aljamain for leaning into it. Shit. You die a hero, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. It's just the nature of the business. And when you got the public always being able to inject their opinions and shit into everything, when the public's opinion is probably not a logical or well thought out or smart opinion, because I promise you, let these fans be on that receiving end of that knee to the face, they be bitching and crying and probably still have a broken nose or something like that right now. But sure, Aljamain should have just let Jan continue to fight after being kneed in the face illegally. You fans rarely make sense to me. You fans rarely make sense to me. But I digress. Either way, I like Aljamain Sterling's approach in this fight. Now, this is booing the man after he won the fight. You can't be serious. Like, this was clearly a close fight. I would have still gave the fight to Aljamain just based off of the ground and time he had on the ground in those 2 rounds. Because Jan didn't truly dominate the last 2 rounds. Yeah, I think he won them, but it wasn't like he dominated the last 2 rounds. And the first one was a toss-up. So, to be mad, like, we could be equally as mad if Aljamain had lost a close fight like this. And then you got Dana continuously injecting his opinions into shit like this. Like, oh, I scored the fight. Bro, Dana, you're not a judge, bro. And continuously undermining these fucking judges is not cute or cool, bro. Like, I get it, bro. You the boss, bro. You think you wanted, you don't think you wanted Jan to win. I don't care. And this shit where Dana can continue to not put titles on people or, feel some type of way when he come into the ring and have bad vibes and shit like that. Yeah, that's got to stop, bro. This shit childish, bro. Like, this motherfucker not putting the title on Ngannou a couple months back. Like, yeah, this dude's a joke, man. See, I try to be nice, bro, and I try to give Dana some credit, bro, and I think about the good, and I just talked about how he gave Burns some money, but then I remember all the stupid, dickhead, childish shit that this motherfucker do on a consistent basis, bro. Like, this shit's really insane to me, bro. Please, somebody start up a better fucking company, bro. Either way, the Sterling-Jan fight was a good fight. I just think Jan got outclassed in this fight. Like, this did not become the fight that Jan would have wanted. Period. And the thing that Jan do best, how he sit back and basically figure you out in that first round or 2, yeah, he took too long. It took him 3 rounds to figure out something, and he got the last 2 rounds and ended up losing. It is what it is. Like, and you can easily book a rematch off of this. Like, I don't understand why people walk around bitching and crying about this. Shit's pretty insane to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. The bitching and the complaining and the crying and, oh, I think Jan won. Yo, shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up. And then we got the Alexander Volkanovsky fight. Alexander the Great. He was an 8-1 favorite against the Korean Zombie. This was not a good fight. Alexander Volkanovsky beat the absolute shit out of the Korean Zombie. The Korean Zombie didn't even look like he belonged in this fucking fight, to be completely honest with you. I said that Gilbert Burns was throwing nothing but all power and landing. Go watch Volkanovsky. This motherfucker was landing with every combination he threw clean as shit. The combination that he used to end, the TKO him at the end, basically, was insane. Like, it didn't look like the Korean Zombie belonged in this fight. And the thing that I'll never understand about some of these dudes who, you know, supposedly do their best work on the standing up, the head movement. I don't get it. And I do get it's hard to develop a head movement, but you would think once you stand up for so long and you've been doing this for so long that you would develop some type of head movement to allow your head to continue. Volkanovsky is a perfect example of a motherfucker who don't give no fucks about all that other movement that you doing with every other body part that's not your head. Because if your fucking head continues to remain where it is at, I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to tee off on it. Volkanovsky don't throw nothing but headshots, and he don't even throw all power. He just so strong it feel like everything he throw is just straight power. His jabs, every combination he throw look like and feel like it's power. And shout out to Korean Zombie, because it was multiple times where he went down in this fight, multiple times where he looked like he was out in this fight. I think after like the first round, the motherfucker was sitting on the ground. Volkanovsky beat his ass in this fight just like he beat his last opponent's ass, just like he beat the other opponent's ass. Like, listen, for all those Max Holloway fans out there, and I like Max, yeah, this dude's a different animal, man. This dude is the man even talked about moving up in the division because of how nobody's stepping up. Like, if y'all don't figure this shit out, I just have to move up a division. Like, he really might start. Now, I don't think he should move up yet. I think he need to go ahead and lap these motherfuckers again so he can go ahead and lap the competition and then move up, bro. Just go ahead and stack up on your legacy real fast. Then move up. Because moving up, but if you clean out this division twice before you move up, like, I know you done beat Max Holloway twice, but if you beat every top contender in this division twice, now granted, if they're going to keep throwing motherfuckers like the Korean Zombie at you, then yeah, move up, bro. Because nobody in this, I don't really see nobody beating Volk right now, to be completely honest with you. I see Kamaru Usman actually have some competition in his thing and some dudes who could probably give him a good fight. I don't see that with Volk right now. I think he could go out there and whoop Max Holloway's ass again too. Like, that's how good this man is right now. So, you know, this might be one of them situations where if you're not a fan of the UFC, you just a fan of the big names, you probably don't know Volk like that, and so you a fan of Max Holloway. This guy is better. I'm just telling you right now, this guy is better. And the way people talk about the Korean Zombie, how he walked through punches. For one, if you have a nickname based off of the fact that you take a lot of damage, I just don't think that's the right type of life to live. You know, I don't want to be known as the guy who get teed off on. You dig? That's all I'm saying. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? But hey, somebody else, maybe, but that's just me. Volkanovsky walked through punches, bro. Like, he legit walked through punches just to deliver his own madness, bro. Volk's a beast. He got a fire-ass nickname. I actually think they should change it from Alexander the Great, even though I know his first name is Alexander Volkanovsky. I think they should change it to Volk the Great. But that's just me. And with that, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint, MMA edition. Oh, before I go though, I do want to break down the psychopath Mackenzie Dern and Torres fight. If Torres could have won this fight, if she could have, I think what really killed her was getting caught in that submission, trying to have to fight so hard in that one round to get out of that shit, how Dern hopped on her like a spider monkey. But if Dern don't figure out how to finish some of these women, I'm trying to tell you, it's going to get a little bit tricky at the top, because I think she in the same division with Rose Namajunas. And the problem with fighting somebody like Rose, or even a Wei Lee, because if Dern take them shots that she took in this fight against Wei Lee, oh, Dern going down. Like, you're not going to keep walking through them bombs that Wei Lee throwing. I promise you're not going to just walk through those. But I do think Dern can possibly submit anybody in the division, but she couldn't finish it this time. I know she got the most submission attempts, but those ain't like Oliveira where it's submissions, where you actually can complete and make the person tap out. So, and what's interesting is, if she was to fight Rose Namajunas, I don't see her winning that fight right now for the simple reason. And I know some people say the ultimate equalizer is wrestling and being able to make somebody tap and whatnot. Mackenzie not truly a wrestler. And I just think Rose is too fast. I think one of the special things about Rose Namajunas is, even though Rose done lost, I still think Rose does something better than every other woman in the division. Every other woman in the division. And that's that hand speed. Her hand speed is unfucking real. It is not a lot of women in the UFC, in her division, that have the hand speed. It's not a lot of people in the division, period, man or woman, who got the hand speed that Rose Namajunas have. Her hand speed is an actual problem. And it's hard to get close to her when she can throw at that type of speed. She got a quick jab. She got quick combination. She got, to me, and she's so disciplined and whatnot now. And I think it's going to be hard to try to get her to the ground and wrestle her. Like, to me, the person who's going to end up beating Rose is somebody who's going to be able to walk through punches. You're going to have a mega chin to get in close with her. But even people with good chins could go down with the amount of damage she could do in the quick pace, in the short amount of time for the amount of damage that Rose can do to you is insane to me. Because she don't even look big, right? But it's when you so accurate, so fast, and can let so many rounds off in that clip at a deadly accuracy at such a high rate, that's what make it. Imagine accumulating one damage, right? But one damage every hour. Now imagine accumulating one damage 0.1 second. And now I'm giving you a whole minute to accumulate that damage. You only gonna do one damage per shot, but I'm giving you 10 minutes and you accumulate damage at 0.1 second now. Now, I don't know if that made sense, to be completely honest with you. I don't. But in my head it did. So you're just gonna have to rock with me on that. But Rose is so fast and so accurate and can pile up so much damage in a quick amount of time, in a short amount of time, I should say. Because of that, I think it's hard to try to get into it. But if you can be somebody who is brilliant about getting in and who can eat damage, then you could possibly do something. But I just don't think it's going to be that easy. And right now, Rose truly do look like the GOAT of this division. But you know, we shall see. But with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. We was talking about the MMA today, baby. Listen, man. Have a dope fucking day. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. Saint out.
How the fuck I pay a couple card notes and ain't even whipping? How the fuck I'm putting food on the table while I ain't living? Cursed from being alone with these dreams of a happy home. So when I think it's really love, I give them anything they want. I got stupid shit I did as a kid defining me lately. When I try to open up a new chapter, they still hate me. My mental, my only drug, so I'm doing this shit alone. Last time I fought depression and she got me on my zone. One bad move for thuggery, hit record from luxury. Pop said some shit that stuck with me. All it take is a mustard seed. Yesterday I caught $40 of pot those. Homie